Welcome to the Commission stand for SME support. Happy to welcome you here today on behalf of the Commission. I'm here with two colleagues, Mariana and Peter, who represent the different EU programs for the support of SMEs. Myself, I'm with the Enterprise Europe Network, and I would like to get into discussion on you why and how international cooperation and innovation capacity building is important, or maybe important to SMEs. And I would like to start with a couple of figures for mindset, and then see what tools Enterprise Europe Network can offer. So for one, we have to look at why SMEs are so important for EU and then for Germany, for Lower Saxony, and probably every economy we have in the European Union. So by your estimation, how many companies would be SMEs in a percentage? Any figures on that? I know my fellow speakers know, but I would like to hear from you. So more than 50, less than 50%, way more than 50? How much way more than 50, Dirk? So 98.6 is probably the accurate figure. That means legislation, support structures are for that smaller and medium-sized enterprises crucial and then very important. And that's why we have something like the SME definition and special SME support programs on that. So 98 point something, yeah? Now talking about the employees, about yourself, where you get your money from when you visit Hannover Fair. Any idea how many people work in an SME? Making up those 98%, so it's around 80% roughly. So 4 out of 5 people work for an SME, and the rest is with governments or with corporates or in research and academia. But it's brute force, so 4 out of 5 employees work for an SME, and that's why it's important for the people that SMEs works. It's important as a backbone of the economy that SMEs work. So that is the one thing. And now, and then Peter will have that in more detail in his presentation, but just for the mindset. Any idea why international cooperation might be important? So why is a single European market so important? Why are free trade agreements so important? So what would be the effect on that? Any idea here? So any estimations how many percent points lower the European GDP would be without free trade and single market? Just some rough estimates. Got an idea? No idea? Now we got an idea?
Around 10%?
Around 10 to 15%. And those are the direct effects of international trade, of free trade agreements, of a harmonized business exchange between independent markets. And that's why it's a shame, for instance, that EU didn't connect to the US market, but there are connections to other very important international markets. And now, if you widen that picture, just 5% of all those SMEs we have do make use of those free trades, of the single market, and of international cooperation. And the Enterprise Europe Network's core mission is just to exactly work on that, to attract companies into foreign markets, into international cooperation, and therewith into sustainable growth. I can give you figures from my region, North Westphalia. We have an annual growth rate, like in Germany, for 1.52% per year. And our clients in the network, where we try to establish and succeeded in establishing international cooperation, they have growth rates between 10 and 15% in the turnover. So there is a potential for every single SMEs, or for 9 out of 10 companies, to use the network for their own benefit and growth. And it's tangible and it's substantial. With that overture, I would like to dive into the depths of the Enterprise Europe Network, the world's largest network on SME cooperation, capacity building, support, innovation. We are in almost every country in Europe, of course in the European Union, as it's an EU DG GROW initiative, but also connecting to Asia, to Latin Americas, to Northern US and to Africa as well. So it's a global initiative and thing. And we're different. We're a network. We're not a cluster. We're not just simply a funded project. We're not doing innovation on our own, but we're trying to connect to SMEs and to innovation actors and to people, to companies that are able to scale. And we do that client-centric. So we try to listen where you are, where you want to go, maybe discuss where you want to go and where you really are, and then put that at the center of our activity. So it's client-centric, based on your actually needs and the assets you have in your company. That means tailored services as well. So we do have some standards like brokerage events, where we have international brokerage sessions on fairs like here, for instance, where you can meet business partners. But we also do capacity building sessions on how to best make use of EU funds in various programs, from Erasmus to Young Entrepreneurs to, let's say, the LIFE program or other initiatives where you need to be an international consortium. And that's where our expertise helps you to fast track to innovation, to funds, to international networks. The network's composition is mainly of actors that have a touch to international business. So we have public bodies, we have regional governance, we have CCIs, so Chambers of Commerce and Industries. We have some research institutes or transfer offices in research institutes. We have some innovation agencies, some state banks. So it's a really very heterogeneous bunch of people connecting forces and expertise in the Enterprise Europe network here. For Germany, so today you are in Niedersachsen, which is exactly right here. That should be where Hannover is. I myself, I come from North Rhine-Westphalia, but we have 13 consortia in Germany, and we have like 3,000 experts working around 60 consortia all over Europe and beyond. And we dive mainly into nine big topics, which we interconnect, and we also solve the equation towards growth, towards resilience, and towards internationalization. So we love to guide companies on the transition topic to sustainability. So what does taxonomy mean? What does corporate social responsibility mean for you along your value chain, along your suppliers, along your clients, along your contractors? What is there in it, what you need to do? Are you sustainable yourself? You want to go away with your production from a linear setting to a circular setting, maybe? Or you want to be aware of your supply chains and have those more resilient, maybe more European, when we look at COVID interruptions or Ukraine war interruptions in supply chains, and the availability of resources, critical resources, and stuff like that. And we're heading again to a point where we have US elections, we've got European elections, so the political environment is a bit unstable, or let's say dynamic. And for a company, it might be interesting to connect those to sustainability, to the single market, and maybe also to digitalization. So why the single market is important to the Enterprise Europe network, I laid out in the beginning, so I'll skip that one. But being digital, being able to do business digital, to scale, to have a complete product cycle that doesn't break, that starts digital and that's digital throughout, so you don't have some pieces of paper and your machinery where you just note the input and output values of polymers if you do injection molding or stuff. So you're completely digital in what you're doing, and that again gives you an edge in your innovative and your innovation capacity for a start. We touch innovation, so what we love to do is considering your business model, but more to see where you would like to be in 5 years' time, and then derive backwards the steps you need to take in order to get there. And then we have technology transfer questions, we have questions of funding for innovation, we have your internal and we have your external view of your resources and capabilities, and that's interesting to see. And from that we touch the other fields as well. So where are suitable partners, how to say your stuff, single market, internationalization, access to markets, all those keywords then come in there. And I myself, I love to discuss EU access to funding. We have other, so it's money you don't have to repay, so you just take it for your own and do whatever you proposed and we were asked to do with the money. We also in the network advise on finance. So finance will be a loan or guarantee, so money you can invest on, but you have to pay it back at some time. And we do that not just for regular investments, but most of the time we do that, for instance, for investments in internationalization capacities. So as a German company or an Hannover-based company, you want to go to, let's say, Norway or to Portugal, and you then look on a regional, on the national and EU scheme with us, where to tap into the right financing and funding opportunities. That's what One Network does, and we do that not as a program owner, so we don't have that just one facility or one financing instrument, but we look as a neutral player and what is available, and from a client perspective, client-centered, what feeds best into what you want to do with all the pros and cons that will be there. So the network, as said, it's like a very huge umbrella. So it's 5,000 people working in the network. We are in 50-something countries, and we were open to all topics. But of course, we do have specialists dedicated to different sectors and topics, which we call sectors or sector groups. So, for instance, we have colleagues working on the digital or on the health technologies or in renewable energies, for instance, and those are connected across the network with experts from different regions, and they bring together their clients, their potential for the growth and the benefit of the company. So if you want to get in touch with the Enterprise Europe Network, do look for your sector, do look for somebody who's involved and dedicated to that sector group, and then you have a structure that is a peer-to-peer structure open for you with all the benefits and the network of that dedicated colleague in all of the 27 EU plus several other countries that are aligned to the single market program. I said we do a lot of technology and business cooperation. We do so already here over the week for Hannover, so I'm afraid it's a bit late to announce it now. But if you would like to see how it works, you're welcome to visit Hall 2, the stand of N-Bank and the Lower Saxony partner with the Enterprise Europe Network, and connect to the colleagues and have a look into the profiles and the business opportunities there. I think there are more than 100 companies registered and ready to cooperate with you if you have a fit there. Talking about structures and intentions and the client-centering stuff, I brought a story from a small company in Düsseldorf, Germany. This company has around 10 employees, and it has got a filter technology to filter drinking water. So you just put it in your water inlet at a home or an industrial building, and it filters the water to pure quality. It's called Aquabion, and it's a water treatment which enables you to have really clear water, free of cadmium and all the other stuff. And that was a development by that small company in Düsseldorf, and he didn't have any access to markets. And we connected them back in 2017 to an Austrian partner. And since then, the business drives, the technology is in the market, and it's available, and you can still Google and buy it. And that cooperation with the Austrian partners was a spark for Mark Flettner to grow his business and to be safe that his company is on the market since 10 years now, and he's always trying to incrementally improve the technology there. So it's interesting to see. We have, like, I don't know, 5 of those stories every day we achieve in the network, which is over a year, 1,500 of those direct matches where people from one region directly cooperates with people from the other region. So this would be an example here from Lower Saxony, where you clean lakes and streams out of garbage, out of algae, out of trees and stuff after storms or tides. So you can use it for recreation or for shipping again. Many of those examples are available, and you're happy to connect to the website Enterprise Network on the EU server, and you see those stories and movies there under the success cases. And there is one from every sector, from internationalization to research cooperation to exploitation of IP. And it's interesting to see, and then with that impression in mind, connect to your local partner and then see what we can do for you, what we can do together. And with that, thank you for your time and interest, and on with the other EU initiatives.
Hello everyone, my name is Mariana Juras. I work in the European Commission, and it will be my pleasure to talk to you today about another program that we have in the European Commission called Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs. And it's a good opportunity to talk about the program because this year we are celebrating 15 years of its existence. So for those of you who have not heard about the program, I'm happy to share some basics of what it is. My colleague Tim already explained to you that SMEs are really the backbone of the European economy. Over 99% of all companies are SMEs, according to my data, which means over 24 million businesses, 150 million jobs. So, of course, it's for us very interesting to see how we can support entrepreneurs and how we can support SMEs. So how does this program fit into the story? What is Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs? Well, it's a program designed for entrepreneurs specifically. It has nothing to do with Erasmus+, but rather it's really designed for entrepreneurs. And the idea is the same, that there is an exchange, a business exchange in this case, where one entrepreneur is traveling abroad to have an exchange with the another. So we try to help the entrepreneurial ideas, we try to help them overcome difficulties in starting businesses. We help those businesses grow internationally, find new partners, etc. So this is the idea behind the program. So as you can see, it is an exchange where a young entrepreneur will go abroad and have an exchange with an experienced entrepreneur, and this will last from 1 to 6 months. And the European Commission is partly financing the stay. Who can participate in the program? We have participating countries of the European Union, so we have 27 member states of the EU, but also those countries who participate in the so-called single market program. So we are beyond the EU. We have currently these countries who have signed up for the program and who are also eligible. But what is interesting to say is that the program is not based on nationality. So if you don't have a nationality of any of these countries, and you have a residence in the countries, you are also eligible to participate in the program. And our definition of the residence is that you are based there for at least 6 months out of the last 12 months. So very interesting to see that there is no nationality as criteria. Also, we have no limitation when it comes to business sectors. So all business sectors are welcome in the program. And again, something very important to say is even though we are called Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs, it is not intended only for young, but for all people above 18. There is absolutely no age limit, neither for new nor host entrepreneurs. So everyone is welcome. So who are the so-called new entrepreneurs? Who are those who do travel abroad to get experience? New entrepreneurs don't have to start their own business. We are welcoming also those who have a firm intention to start a business, who already have a business plan but not the actual business. They are already eligible for the program. Also, people who have started a business for up to 3 years are called new entrepreneurs in our program. So, like we said, there is absolutely no limitations in the sector. On the other side, we have experienced entrepreneurs who host, who welcome the new entrepreneurs in their companies for this period. And these people should be a successful, experienced entrepreneurs who have over 3 years of experience. They can be founders, or they can be someone in the management board who have some sort of decision making power in the SME. On the ground, like I said, we are present in all over Europe. We have local contact points who help implement the program. We call them intermediary organizations. And currently we have over 150 local contact points, intermediary organizations in over 30 countries. They are there to practically implement the program. They promote the program, recruit entrepreneurs, help them find a match, and help them with the exchange. On the European level, we have a so-called support office who also makes sure that everything is running smoothly in the program. So what are the benefits? Why would people participate in the program? For the new entrepreneurs, you can imagine it's a great opportunity to go abroad and learn from someone experienced on how to run a business, to talk to people who have already been on the journey, who know what to do, what to avoid, who will help them with the networking, with the experience, with the know-how, etc. So they will gain experience working together with the host. On the other side, hosts get this young person, in the sense, entrepreneurial sense, with fresh ideas, with fresh perspectives from a different market, and it's very useful for them to get this information, get this boost, get this new pair of eyes, fresh pair of eyes to look at their products, look at their services, look at their marketing. So it's very nice for them to cooperate with a new entrepreneur. So we like to think of it as a win-win deal because they both benefit from the exchange. It's not an internship, it's not a traineeship, but it's really a peer-to-peer exchange. So how does it work in practice? We have a website for the program where both new and host entrepreneurs apply. With the help of the local contact point, we'll check the application, check the eligibility, and finally, when they are both in the program, we check the matching. So we help them there to find the relevant peer across the borders to see who is best suited to help each other. So they can propose the match or we can propose it for them. Once the match is set, we help each other, we help them make objectives for their trip. We want to make sure that they know exactly what they are trying to get from the exchange, so make sure that all the objectives are met are planned to be met in advance. And then the actual new entrepreneur goes abroad and the exchange takes place. Following the exchange, we make the final payment to the new entrepreneur and receive feedback from both. Like I said, the European Commission is partly financing the stay, so we contribute to the trip of the new entrepreneur abroad. These are the sums that we pay depending on the destination, so of course we pay more in the more expensive countries, less in the less expensive. And it's important to say that these figures will be now updated because they haven't been updated in a while, so from June there will be a slight increase in these numbers. So how to apply to the program? We have the application via our website where the new entrepreneur needs to give the motivation, CV and the business plan, and the host just the motivation and the CV. And there you can choose your local contact point who will help you on the journey. Like I said before, there's absolutely no deadlines to apply, so everyone is welcome all the time to apply via the website. There's absolutely no age limit, and we don't have any limitations in the sectors. So what are our key achievements? Like I said, we are now celebrating 15 years of the program, so it's a good moment to stop and reflect what was achieved so far. So these are our numbers. We have over 12,000 business exchanges already set up. We've reached over 40 countries. We had a record-breaking year last year with over 5,000 applications to the program. 97% of our participants consider their exchange successful, and 92% want to keep in touch after the exchange. So you see that we have created some really good connections and good matches because they're still in touch after the exchange. And even the hosts are willing to build partnerships with the new entrepreneurs. 20% of the hosts want to formalize the future partnership with the new entrepreneurs. And finally, 98% of our alumni recommend the program. So as you can imagine, we address the youth in unemployment, we help them gain entrepreneurial skills, we give them practical support, we support the single market because there's an international element where we help people learn about the new markets, access the new markets, etc. I showed you our numbers, but beyond these numbers are people, real people who have benefited from the program. And if you go to our website, you will see all these stories, all these success stories, and see how this program has influenced their entrepreneurial journey, how they help them grow their business. On a side note, we are promoting our program not only to the entrepreneurs, but also to business support organizations who have the opportunity to be part of the network, to become our local contact points. How can a business organization, which can be a chamber of commerce, a university, an institute, a regional development agency, how can they become local contact points? Well, the agency called European Innovation Council, an SME executive agency, SMEA, is the one who is launching the calls of proposals where business support organizations can apply to become part of the program. And currently we have a call open till the 27th of June, so if you know of an organization who is willing to become part of the program, they are welcome to apply via the website of the agency. I will not go into details, but if you're interested, feel free to see the call there. And where to get more information, we have the relevant website, Erasmus Entrepreneurs, where more information can be found and you can apply for the program. If you're interested in the call to become a local contact point, please look at the ESMEA website where all details can be found. Okay, thank you very much.
This one. So while I wait until my microphone is activated. Is it activated now? Yes, very good. Well, thank you very much. My name is Peter Bertz. I'm also from the European Commission, from the Director General for Trade, some kind of a ministry for trade. Trade is the exclusive competence of the European Union. We, as the European Union, represented by the European Commission, engage with third countries in trade matters, no longer the individual EU member states. They have transferred the competence, which is a direct reflection of the creation of our single market. We have one border across Europe. That's why we need common rules for imports and exports. And I'm going to present today two tools we have developed for European companies, especially small and medium-sized enterprises, access to market, an online portal for information on exports and imports, and a single entry point, an online complaint mechanism about barriers our companies might face in third countries. So here, a quick recollection of our trade agreements currently in force or under negotiation. We have currently 44 trade agreements in force, covering almost 80 countries around the world. Sometimes we have one trade agreement with a number of partner countries which have customs union, like the Andean community or Central America. Sometimes we have, in most cases, standalone bilateral trade agreements, like with New Zealand next week, coming into force, 1st of May. The newest trade agreement to be added, small country, quite important for the region, our 5th trade agreement in the Asia-Pacific region after Singapore, Vietnam, Korea and Japan. More to come, as you see, from the yellow bit, which is under negotiation. But as of Wednesday next week, all import duties on industrial goods between us and New Zealand will disappear from one day to another, opening up considerably additional trade between the EU and New Zealand, not only on kiwi fruit, but many other things. So starting with the first cluster of our tools, the Access to Market portal, is a website, basically. A portal which we have created 3 years ago, which contains a trade assistant where you can search through easy means information you need when to export goods, when you export services, or when you want to enter into tender proceedings for public procurement in third markets. You have a brief description of our trade agreements. You don't have to go to 2,300, 4,000 pages of trade agreement with hundreds and hundreds of footnotes. Here you have easy descriptions, what's in them and how to use them. Plus videos, tutorials, and it's updated on a daily basis. So if Kazakhstan today changes its customs duties for carpets, tomorrow it's in the system. Who are we targeting with that website? Who should consult it, use it? It is in a response to the complaints by industry that they don't understand what we do in Brussels. They don't want to go through 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 pages of a trade agreement to understand whether there's something in for them and what is in for them. So we target European companies, small and medium-sized enterprises. A recollection to the numbers, 95 to 98% of our companies are small and medium-sized enterprises, but only 5% of those trade internationally. 95% of SMEs do not go outside of the European Union. Okay, that could be the hairdresser or the butcher next door, but still that number is quite staggering, and we try to change that. We want to help companies, SMEs, to see the benefits of going abroad and support them to as much information as possible. Industry association, chambers, advisory services, Enterprise Europe Network all have access to the system, and trade promotion organizations. You will see in the little footnote that we are not limited to the EU, but also to the single market participating countries or candidate countries for accession to the European Union. The purpose: a central portal, easy to use, product specific. You type in the product name or the classified code, the harmonized system code of your product. You want to indicate from which country you want to export out of the European Union into which third country, and you have all the information you need to perform your exports. It's online, it's multilingual, preferred language still English. Many items are still machine translated only, but we are working on that. The system is only 3 years old, but as I'll show you later, quite a success. So as I said, we have information about the exports of goods, just what you see here everywhere in this exhibition, in this trade fair, for more than 135 countries. So not only the 80 countries with which we have trade agreements, we include India, we include the United States, with which we don't have trade agreements. You can see here in one click what are the tariffs and the taxes I have to pay when I export my product. What are the rules of origin? Does my product qualify for preferential treatment? Is it a European product? Because often products are based on pre-products from different sources, assembled here or assembled somewhere else. So here is an online tool that allows you to check whether your product qualifies for it. You have all the customs procedures, forms to fill in there of the market you want to export into. Similar information on public procurement, currently only for 3 countries. We are expanding the system every 6 months to add additional markets. So here you can see what public procurement tenders are on the market. And the third cluster would be trade and services, accounting services, IT services, teaching, legal advice for Canada, Switzerland and the UK currently. So what do we cover? We cover the countries I mentioned just now, also for imports into the European Union, and trade within European Union member states is also covered. But the primary purpose is, of course, to support the export from the European Union market to third countries all over the world. The rules of origin self-assessment tool I mentioned just earlier is something we have developed a year ago at the request of our companies. EU companies said, your rules are too complicated, and they are different if I want to export to India, if I want to export to the Philippines, to Saudi Arabia. Each time I have to comply with different origin rules. So here we have developed a self-assessment tool which guides you through a number of questions, 6 to 12 questions, and at the specific for your country of destination and your product. And at the end you will see whether or not your product is benefiting from such preferences. The preferences, by the way, consist of tariff reduction or elimination of tariff, like in the case of New Zealand next week. But unfortunately, only 3/4 of companies make use of these preferences. 1/4 of all of our exports, although eligible not to pay duties, still pay duties. And we ask ourselves, why, of course, is that? That millions and millions of import duties are still paid, although they shouldn't have been. So this is a tool that helps our companies to verify and check, and events like these help us also to promote these instruments. So it's an easy to read web page, as I said, in all the languages. I will give a live demonstration in a couple of minutes on an actual search. This is the search window. As you see, we put in here the 4 categories: goods, services, procurement, and at the special request of a number of European companies, also the export restrictions that Russia and Belarus maintain. So this is also fed into the database, a special request from industry, and we added that feature to the system. As I said, we have goods, we have services. So here we cover 4 countries and 100 service industries per country, so accounting, legal, IT services, and we are working to expand the system even further. It's only 1 year old, but also already in heavy use. The same on public procurement. We cover here 3 countries, including not only the central level, but also the sub-central level, as I show you in a minute, because in Canada, US, you have the states, you have the provinces, etc., that have their own public entities that do public tendering. And here we have an opportunity for companies to see what is on the market, what tenders are there open in Manitoba, in British Columbia, in Alabama, and can I, with my product, perhaps participate in such a tender. Successful instrument, as I said, so far 8 million users over the last 3 years from all over the world, but I showed you quite restricted for the fine-tuning of researchers to companies and citizens of the European Union. Rules of origin, only 1 year old, already 500,000 searches done to check, does my product qualify for the export and the preferences. Public procurement, added half a year ago, already 10,000 companies have checked whether there are some tenders out there which are of interest to my companies. We do trainings. So far we have trained 12,000 companies. It happens every 3 months. On our web portal, Access to Market, you will find the next date in September. Just last week we had one, almost 1,000 companies attended to learn about this tool. The single entry point, our complaint mechanism, is the other feature we have offered. We have learned that many third countries, although obliged to do certain things, not always implement all the obligations and the commitments they have taken vis-à-vis the European Union, be it through the rules of the World Trade Organization, be it through the rules of the free trade agreements we have negotiated. So in this case, our companies cannot enjoy the benefits they're entitled to, but we often don't know about these problems. We have many companies that say, okay, I comply just to get my product into the market, but no, don't comply, complain to us, bring it up with us, so we can find a solution with the government of the third country to remove that barrier for trade. So it's a unified contact point in my team. It's once we have received a complaint, we put together a case team. The case team consists of lawyers, economists, legal experts, of colleagues in our embassies in the third country concerned. We check whether the complaint is justified. If justified, we will put that complaint, that barrier then into a database, which is publicly visible, and we will work with the third government concerned on a solution and a removal of that barrier so that trade can flow properly. So, if you encounter a barrier, check our website whether that barrier already exists perhaps and we address it already. And if not, fill in the form. If you have problems and are not sure whether you want to fill in the form, then we have a contact point to guide you through the system to check whether it's really something that you want to bring up with us. I'll give you an example. The other day we had a complaint. Somebody wanted to complain. Country, let's say Norway, because we are a partner country Norway. Norway's import tariffs are too high. So that is a complaint we have received. That is, of course, something we are not looking for so much. Every import barrier, per definition, is a trade barrier. But here, such an abstract complaint that 5,000 import tariffs are too high is not something we consider as a proper complaint. On the other side, last week, a German company complained that the cars are stuck in the port of a third country because the customs authorities don't recognize the certificate. Complaint received, action taken immediately with the customs offices from our embassy, from us in Brussels, to get these cars released into the third market. It can easily be found here, single entry point on our web portal. We have 2 complaints forms in fact. One concerns the export of goods, services, investment. You have to only identify yourself, you have to describe what is the problem, and then you put in as much information as you have. The violation of the international commitment, the legal domestic act that you think is not right, perhaps some economic data that we know how serious is this trade barrier, and the actions you might have taken so far locally with domestic courts. Above all, we treat complaints confidentially, because if they are not confidential and the names are published, we know that we don't get any complaints. So rest assured, only we know the complaints, it's not shared with anybody. The second complaint form concerns trade and sustainable development issues. Trade and sustainable development are commitments third countries undertake vis-à-vis us in our free trade agreements, FTAs, or when they enjoy unilateral preferences, especially developing countries, through a generalized system of preferences, GSP. So these commitments are, for example, apply labor workers' rights, protect the environment, based on international norms like the conventions under the International Labour Organization or multilateral environmental conventions. If an NGO, a citizen sees, hey, I don't think this third country lives up to the standard it has agreed to, you can complain to us, we take it up. Just recently, a year ago, for example, we received a complaint, and I can mention it because the complainant and Dutch NGO went public with it, complained about the workers' conditions of minor workers in Peru and Colombia, because the laws and the implementation of the laws of Colombia are not in compliance with the commitments Colombia and Peru undertook under the International Labour Organization. So this is something we then took up with the governments of these 2 countries to develop an action plan to remedy the situation. So this is ongoing and online available as well in terms of progress. So how to fill in the complaint form? As I said, few mandatory fields. It's based on best available information. So we try to streamline the process to make it easy for NGOs and for companies to fill it in. And as I said, we treat it confidentiality. Here's the flow of work we do once we have received such a complaint. We communicate always with the complainant on the progress and the results of the achievements to ensure that there's transparency, and we get feedback also from the company whether the barrier is actually removed and the products can be exported. Here we are. And we are on X, on LinkedIn, on podcast, we have websites, and we have a newsletter. And I would like to now give an online quick demonstration of an example of how the system works. As I said, 8 million have used it so far. And Sam is activating his computer. So here's our portal. When you go to Google and type access to markets, the first hit is that website. It's our Chief Trade Enforcement Officer, my boss, who was here yesterday and did a tour, who is the one then writing the letters to Korea, to Japan, etc., and say, you behave and adjust and comply. My trade assistant, as I said, 4 areas: goods, services, procurement, and the specialty Russia and Belarus export restrictions. So let's start with an example on goods. I usually take vacuum cleaners, HS code 8508. We want to export from Germany. We want to export to Japan. And we do the search. Now the system asks you which type of vacuum cleaner, an electric one, a battery-driven one, or just the parts. You have to pick, and you get the search result. First item, how much duty do I pay for my export of my vacuum cleaner to Japan? Preferential rate for Japan is 0% after the entry into force of our trade agreement. Others at the moment also pay 0. That's why all these values are at the moment 0.